I'm Jason with the All Things Open team. I'm here with Nick. We're going to talk about open source, AI, productivity, and more. Nick, please introduce yourself to the All Things Open community.
My name is Nick Taylor. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and been working professionally in open source since 2020, but been a contributor since 2015. Currently, I'm at a company called Pomerium as a developer advocate.
Well, thanks for all your past contributions and future contributions. I understand you're passionate about open source, obviously. How did you get involved and what excites you about it today?
I used to do a lot of .NET, and we were doing Angular at the time, and I've always been a fan of JavaScript, and I wanted to get an open source, but .NET is open source now, but like back in 2015, it was all closed source. And so I was interested in doing some Node.js because that was open source. I'd already started doing TypeScript and React at this point, like still early days. And it was my way to learn React basically, and because I wasn't going to do it at work. And that's kind of what got me hooked. I became a maintainer of a React boilerplate, which is not something that really exists these days. You have meta frameworks now, but that was kind of my way in. And just since then, I don't know. I think it's just great working in the open. So
great. Well, that's a cool approach that you took for that. Do you have any advice for someone who's just getting started with open source?
I think the thing to think about this is, like, say you're like a React dev, it's a little too much to bite off if you say, like, I'm going to go contribute to the React project. It's very mature at this point. There's a ton of context you need to know about the project to even kind of get in. So, like, I'd say start off small. And everybody has different levels of comfort, but a good way to start typically is documentation, or like even go through the setup of a project that you're interested in. If it's early days, typically there's something missing in the setup, so, and then go from there, and then just get a little more ambitious every time.
So there's a lot of discussion these days about AI's role in development. Do you think AI will replace developers? It's the hot topic.
Yeah. Everybody says that, or like Terminator, Skynet, all that stuff. I don't think it's going to replace developers. I think it's going to get rid of a category of jobs for sure. I mean, it's just like the Industrial Revolution. People were driving horse and buggies, and then they complain that there's cars, so they're losing their jobs, but it created other jobs. And I think what's going to happen is the stuff that just really can be automated, those are the jobs that are going to disappear. But I think what it's going to do is it opens the door for doing a lot more work, because a lot of like the boilerplate or the boring stuff, you can actually focus on what's really important. And people talk about tech and stuff, but at the end of the day, you're trying to deliver some kind of business value or some service. They were talking about it in one of the keynotes today, but like I think it'll enable more deep work. I know how to write a for loop, but typing it out every time, if I got Copilot or Cursor just spitting it out for me, I'm going to take that any day. So
perfect. Love it. Do you have a new tool that you've been using to boost your productivity lately?
Like I mentioned, I do use like GitHub Copilot, and I do use Cursor for development. But one tool that I still really love is Claude, like just from the web interface, not even the API. And my friend Becca Howard-Wagle, who I used to work with at OpenSauce, she introduced it to me, and they have this, I pay for it, so there's this feature called projects, and it's a really great way to group your stuff, because like typically when you ask something in chat, you just basically have a whole jumbled of mess. And with the projects, you can add some context to it as well. Like, I don't know, like I was learning Go, so I said like, okay, I need to use Go 1.2.5 or higher, and there always has to be, the tests have to be parallel if you're giving me tests, and a bit of context, and you kind of grow that knowledge there, which is the additional context that comes along. And I'm just finding that super useful, and especially for like blogging and writing, like it's always my original stuff, but I put it through there after and then just kind of refine, so.
What's one tip, best practice, or do you have any advice you'd like to share with the All Things Open community?
It's going to sound cheesy, but get out of your comfort zone. This is something like, we're talking about open source, but I was very intimidated to do open source initially. I was coming from .NET. They were using Team Foundation Server, which is another source control. So I didn't know Git. You're putting yourself out there, but every time I've gotten uncomfortable, just good things have happened. So everybody's comfort zone is different, but like kind of what I was saying before, just get a little more ambitious every time. And it's not so much YOLO. I like to call it structured YOLO. It's like, take bets, but like do put yourself out there.
Got it. I was personally hesitant to try some of the AI stuff just from a content perspective. I didn't want things to come out wrong or things to take longer, but I've actually found that I've gotten faster with it. So
Yeah.
do you want to share anything experience about that, how you're working with content with AI and what your experience is?
Yeah, for like written content, it definitely helps me move faster. Like I said, I get my initial thoughts out, or I even aggregate like I'm doing some release notes for Pomerium right now. So I've grabbed the changelog, I've looked at our docs, and I've basically pulled all those things together. And then I'm like, okay, just give me a changelog entry for each feature that's going out, and that's just a starting point. And it's original content. It's from our changelog and stuff, and then from there I'm going to refine. In terms of coding, I think it's really good for front-end work. I haven't used it as much it's still good for back-end, but I've noticed that the LLMs have trained a lot on like React, TypeScript, Tailwind, and so like I was doing some feature work for clients when I was off between jobs, and I cranked out a whole new UI for them in less than a week. And I could have obviously typed all those components out, but I just leveraged the AI. And I think the thing, my old coworker mentioned this, it's like you kind of become a pull request reviewer as opposed to writing all the code, which makes sense, and I still enjoy coding, but I do love the productivity aspect of it. But yeah, I think we're in a land of, we've got like junior or mid developers, and we're just critiquing it, and I treat it like almost like a buddy, like pairing, like rubber ducking as well. So
Well, those are two great use cases. Thanks for sharing. Nick, thanks for your time today. Really appreciate being here.
yeah, no, thanks again for having me.